Go ahead and do it. So we've got that intertidal zone. And so we do find living things there. And this is the part you can go wade out into. The next area that we get to, and I guess this one doesn't show it very well, is this, which is, I'm going to say shallow water, but it's not really that shallow. Because you're looking at, over 100 meters deep. This is not like you can wade out to the edge of that. So that next area, this is where if you've been out in a boat on the ocean, if you've gone ocean fishing, you were probably still over the continental shelf. You probably were not out over the deep. And I used to know the number of miles out. So far out over the continental shelf, you're in U.S. waters, and then you're in international waters, and I've forgotten all that. It doesn't matter much to us because we're more interested in what lives there. But, this is a pretty rich zone in terms of life. There are a lot of nutrients that come off the land. All of this gets sunlight all the way down to the bottom. That's good. Once you get out past that and you get to this drop-off, you're in what's often called the Oceanic Zone. And this is where there's nothing below you. No, there's lots of stuff below you. But it is the deep, 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 deep ocean, like 9,000 meters deep. Oh, really? Yes. This is the deep water of the darkest stuff. So that's our x-axis. We've got, the shallow water we dip our toes in, the intertidal zone, the neritic zone, the near shore zone where we have lots of living things. And then we've got the oceanic, that big water. And I guess both oceanic and neritic get referred to as pelagic. There are multiple ways to cut the cake. That's okay. If we look at the sort of y-axis, there's really only one distinction that matters for us. And that's this line right here. I'm going to make it red. That line right there. Above it is the Photic Zone. And below it is the aphotic zone. What do you think you have in the Photic Zone that you don't have in the aphotic zone? Don't yell it out. Tell someone sitting near you. Excellent. You're all muttering, light, duh. Yeah. So the Photic Zone, 200 meters down, is the limit of where light penetrates. So below that, it's dark. And in the film, they reference this sort of twilight zone. I think they call that the near Photic Zone or something. And there's some light. And then down below about 1,000 meters, there is no light, period. This twilight zone is one where you and I wouldn't be able to perceive light with our eyes, but some of the organisms there's enough light that some things can capture stuff. Okay. So, as we said, humans mostly interact with this part of the ocean. And the amazing thing is how little we have known about this whole part of the ocean. And they kind of reference that in the film. We know more about the surface of the moon. We did for a long time. I think that's starting to change. Than we did about the bottom of the ocean. And when I was growing up, you know what we were told? Nothing lives down here. There is nothing down there. There's no light, there are no nutrients, there's nothing there. They were wrong. So, from even the deep sea vents, science goes back and we find new information. We modify our perspective, we modify our worldview. We found not only those deep sea vents, and this is supposed to be a little deep sea vent community here where we have things living on sulfur, but we found all kinds of other things living on the bottom of the ocean. And some of them are depending on nutrients that fall from above. Some of them are depending on these things in the deep sea vent communities as the basis of their food chain. Those little cocopods, the little tiny bioluminescent critters that they showed rising up through the air column, those form a pretty good bottom of the food chain. So what I think the shape that, and I'm not going to quiz you on this, but we're going to reference this repeatedly. So what I'm trying to work out for because I have to have some sort of assessment for this unit. I don't want to have a test. I'm trying to work out sort of a project-based thing where we have within groups sort of taking portions of the ocean and somehow representing them. I don't know how that works yet. We'll see. But I have this vision of incorporating art into your final assessment. So we're, as groups, like making something cool. And if we could go outside, that would be even better. I don't know what I can get away with yet. I got to find out. I got to ask some questions. But I want you to kind of spend time researching and learning about. And I want to talk about bioluminescence because I think it's stinking cool. So we'll do some of that. We'll do some exploring of deep sea creatures. So, questions, comments, concerns? 9? Wunderbar.